Hello friends, in this today's video lecture we will discuss the web services and the simple object access protocol, that is SOAP. So let's start with the web services. First of all, what is the web services? Web services is a standardized medium to propagate communication between the client and server application in the World Wide Web. A web service is a software module that is designed to perform a certain set of tasks. Again, the web service can be researched for over the network and can also be invoked accordingly. When invoked, the web service would be able to provide the functionality to the client when invoked that web service. That is all about the web service. Now, the advantages of the web service. We already discussed why web service come about the first place, which was to provide a platform which will allow different applications to talk to each other. But let's look at some other advantages why it is important to use web services. First one, exploring the existing function on the network. A web service is a unit of managed code that provides some sort of functionality to client application or end user. This functionality can be invoked over the HTTP protocol, which means that it can also be invoked over the internet. Nowadays, all applications are on the internet, which makes the purpose of web services more useful. That means the web service can be anywhere on the internet and provides the necessary functionality as per requirement. Second one, interportability. Web application allows various applications to talk each other and share data and services among themselves. All types of application can talk to each other. So instead of writing specific code which can only be understood by specific applications, you can now write generic code that can be understood by all applications. So it is a importability amongst the applications. Third one, standardized protocol. A standardized protocol which everybody understands, right? Web services use standardized industry protocol for the communication. All the four layers, that is service transport, XML messaging, service description and service discovery layer, uses well-defined protocol in the web services protocol stack. And the last one is the low cost communication. Web services uses SOAP over HTTP protocol, so you can use existing low cost internet for implementing the web services. These four are the advantages of web services. Now, types of web services. The types of web services are mainly two. First one is the SOAP that we will discuss in this presentation, and the REST. This will be discussed in the next video lecture. In order for the web services to be fully functional, there are certain components that need to be placed. These components need to present irrespective of whatever development language is used for the programming the web services, right? Next, web service architecture. Every framework needs some sort of architecture to make sure the entire framework works as desired. Similarly, in web services, the web services architecture consists of three distinct roles as given below: provider, requester, and the broker. Here, the provider creates the web services and make it available to client application who want to use it. Right? Requester. A requester is nothing but the client application that need to contact a web service. The client application can be a .NET, Java, or any other language based application which looks for some sort of functionality via a web services. And the last one is the broker. Broker is nothing but the application which provide access to the UDDI. The UDDI, as discussed in the earlier topic, enable the client application to locate the web services. The diagram below shows how the service provider, the service requester, and the service registry interact with each other. First one is the publish. A provider inform a broker about the existence of web service by using the broker publish interface to make the services accessible to client. After that, the find. The requester consultant the broker to locate a publish web service, and the bind. Bind is the last one. With the information it gained from the broker, that is the service registry, about the web service, the requester is able to bind or invoke the web services. Right? Next one is the web services characteristics. Web services have the following special behavioral characteristics. First one, they are XML based. Web services uses XML to represent the data at the representation and data transportation layer. Using XML eliminates any networking, operating system, or platform sort of dependencies, since XML is a common language understood by all. So they use the XML. Second one is the loosely coupled. Loosely coupled means that the client and the web services are not bound to each other, which means that even if the web service changes over time, it should not change the way the client calls the web service. Adopting a loosely coupled architecture tends to make software system more manageable and allows simple integration between different systems. Third one, synchronous or asynchronous functionality. Synchronicity refers to the binding of the client to the execution of service. In synchronous operation, the client will actually wait for the web service to complete an operation. For example, this is probably a scenario whenever a database read and write operation are being performed. If data is read from one database and subsequently writing to another, then the operation have to be done a sequential manner. Asynchronous operation allow a client to invoke a service, then execute other functions in parallel. This is one of the common and probably the most preferred techniques for ensuring that other services are not stopped when a particular operation is being carried out. That is the synchronous and asynchronous functionality. Fourth one is the ability to support a remote procedure call, RPCS, remote procedure calls. When web services enable client to invoke procedures, functions, and methods on remote objects using an XML based protocol. Remote procedure expose input and output parameter that a web service must support. And the last one is support document exchange. One of the key benefits of XML is its generic way of representing not only data but also complex documents. These documents can be as simple as representing a current address or they can be as complex as representing entire book. Okay, this is all about the web services. Now we will discuss SOAP, that is the Simple Object Access Protocol. SOAP is an XML based protocol for accessing web services over HTTP. It has some specification which could be used across all applications. SOP is also known as the Simple Object Access Protocol, but in later times was just shortened to SOAP version 1.2. SOAP is a protocol, or in other words, is a definition of how web services talk to each other or talk to client applications that invoke them. SOAP was developed as an intermediate language so that applications built on various programming languages could talk easily to each other and avoid the extreme development effort. Now, advantages of SOAP. SOAP is the protocol used for data interchange between applications. Below are the sum of the reasons as why SOAP is used. Means SOAP provides the following advantages. When developing web services, you need to have some of languages which can be used for web services to talk with client application. So SOAP is the perfect medium which was developed in order to achieve this purpose. This protocol is also recommended by the W3C Constitution, which is the governing body for all web standards. Next one, SOAP is a lightweight protocol that is used for data interchange between the applications. Note the keyword light, since SOAP is based on an XML language which itself is a lightweight data interchange language. Hence SOAP as a protocol that is fall in the same category. Next one, SOAP is designed to be platform independent, and it is also designed to be operating system independent. So the SOAP protocol can work any programming language based application on both Windows and Linux platform. And the last, it works on the HTTP protocol. SOAP works on the HTTP protocol, which is the default protocol used by all web applications. Hence, there is no sort of customization which is required to run the web services built on the SOAP protocol to work on the World Wide Web. These are the advantages provided by the SOAP. Now, next one is the SOAP building blocks. The SOAP specification defines something known as a SOAP message, which is what is sent to the web services and the client application. The diagram below shows the various building blocks of SOAP messages. The SOAP message is nothing but a mere XML document which has the below components. First one, an envelope. An envelope element that identifies the XML document as a SOAP message. This is the containing part of the SOAP message, and it is used to encapsulate all details in the SOAP message. This is the root element in the SOAP message. Next, the header. A header element that contains header information. The header element can contain the header information such as authentication credentials, which can be used by the calling application. It can also contain the definition of complex types which could be used in a SOAP message. By default, the SOAP message can contain parameters which will be simple types such as a string, number, but can also be complex object type. And the last one is the body. SOAP body elements that contains call and responses information. This element is what contains the actual data which needs to be sent between the web services and the calling application. Means the SOAP building blocks contain three main parts, that is the envelope, header and the body. Now SOAP message structure. One thing to note in that SOAP message are normally auto-generated by the web services when it is a call. Whenever a client application calls a method in the web service, the web services will automatically generate the SOAP message which will have the necessary details of data which will be sent from the web service to the client application. As discussed, a simple SOAP message has the following element, that is the envelope element, header element, body element and the fault element, that is the optional. SOAP envelope element. The first bit of the building block is the SOP envelope. The SOP envelope is used to encapsulate all necessary details of SOAP message, which are exchanged between the web service and the client application. The following points can be noted on the SOAP envelope elements. First one, every SOAP message needs to have a root envelope element. It is absolutely mandatory for SOAP message to have an envelope element. Second thing, every envelope element need to have at least one SOAP body element. Means it need at least one SOAP body element. Next, if an envelope element contains a reader element, it must contain no other than one, and it must appear as the first child of the envelope before the body element. And the last, the envelope changes when SOAP various changes. Right? Next one is the fault message, that is the optional thing, but we will discuss here. When a request is made to SOAP web services, the response returned can be of either two forms, which are successful response or error response. When a successful response is generated, the response from the server will be a SOAP message. But if SOAP fault are generated, they are returned as a HTTP 500 error. The SOAP fault message contains the following elements. First one, the fault code. This is a code that designates the code of the error. The fault code can be either of any value, right? First one is the version mismatch, must understand, or SOAP and ENV client, right? First of all, the SOAP ENV version mismatch. This is when an invalid namespace for the SOP envelope element is encountered. Second fault code is SOAP-ENV must understand. An intermediate child element of the header element with the must understand attribute set to 1 was not understood. Next one, SOAP ENV client. The message was incorrectly formed or contained incorrect information. And the last fault code is SOAP-ENV server. There was a problem with the server, so the message could not be proceeded. Right? Second is the fault string. This is the text message which gives a dedicated description of the error. Third one is the fault actor. It is optional. This is a text string which indicates who caused the fault, means client or a server. And fourth one is the detail. It is also optional. This is the element for application specific error message. So the application could have a specific error message for a different businesses logic scenario. These are the 4 types of fault codes. Now, SOP communication model. All communication by SOAP is done via the HTTP protocol. Prior to SOAP, a lot of web services used to understand RPC, remote procedure call, style for a communication. This was the simplest type of communication, but it had a lot of limitation. Let's consider the below diagram to see how the communication works. In this example, let us assume the server hosts a web service which provided 2 methods as getEmployee or a setEmployee. GetEmployee, this would get an employee detail, and setEmployee, this would set the value of the details like a employee's department, salary, etc. In the normal RPC style communication, the client would just call the method in its request and send the request parameter to the server, and the server could then send the desired response. This communication model has some limitations, like not language independent, not the standard protocol, or firewalls, right? Not language independent means the server hosting the methods will be in a particular programming language, and normally the calls to the server will be in that programming language only. Not the standard protocol means when a call is made to the remote procedure, the call is not carried out via the standard protocol. This was an issue since mostly all communication over the web had to be done via the HTTP protocol. And third one is the firewall. Since RPC call do not go via the normal protocol, separate ports need to be open on the server to allow the client to communicate with the server, right? Now, to overcome all the limitation client above, SOP could use the below communication model. Here the client is a marshalling and server is a demarshalling. The client will be format the information regarding the particular call and any argument into the SOAP message and send it to the server as a part of HTTP request. This process of encapsulation the data into the SOAP message was known as marshalling. And about the demarshalling, the server could then wrap up the message sent by the client, see what the client requested for, and then send the appropriate response back to the client as a SOAP message. The practice of unwrapping a request sent by the client is known as the demarshalling. Right? This is the SOAP communication model. Thank you, student. In this video, we have discussed the web services and all about the SOAP. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.